Hello and welcome back to Hello and welcome back to Also Rusty Buckets. I don't really have a creative intro today, so let's just hop right into it. Real quick before we get into today's games that I watched, this channel is very close to 20k subs. I think if I ask for it, it's just going to happen in like an hour. So give me 20k subs. I want it. Give it to me. Pause. Also drop a like on this video. It only takes 1 second. Makes a massive difference. You've heard it before. I guess I could have done the spiel for the subscribe thing that like at this point on this channel, half of the people watching are not subscribed. So just subscribe so you can get some extra content from me on my second channel. But with that out of the way, I watched 3 games, I guess 3.1 games, because I watched the end of Lakers versus OKC. I watched literally the last minute of overtime. So literally the pointest of ones. So my opinion on the end of that game, I mean, Wesley Matthews hit a 3 off a LeBron pass. LeBron took a dumb mid-range shot that airballed. OKC had a chance to... that Lou Dort layup should have been an and one. After that, though, that foul was not called. OKC had a chance to tie it up, but then... Or even, I think, win the game, because I think they were down 1. Something like that. Might have been to tie it up. LeBron stole the inbound, or kind of did. He interrupted the flow of the offense and saved the game that way. So good job on LeBron. As for why that game was close, don't really know. So the title of this video is Zach Lavine has reached a new level, and I have waited to use this title since the first episode on this channel, the first video on this channel. Different games, different situations, kept interrupting that. Zach Lavine would have a good game, and I'm like, okay, this will be the video where I talk about Zach Lavine, and then something else would happen. So today, Zach Lavine is on my mind because he had an unbelievable performance against the New Orleans Pelicans. Zach had 46 points, 7 rebounds, and 4 assists on 68% shooting from the field, and he hit 9 3-pointers on 14 attempts, which is 64%. So it splits for this game with 68, 64, 100. He also scored, Jesus Christ, he scored 46 on 3 free throws. That is some wild shit. On top of Zach in this game, Kobe White also had a great performance. He had 30 points and 7 assists on 10 for 20 shooting, 8 for 17 from 3, which is 47%. This is the first time in NBA history that 2 teammates in the same game had 8 or more 3-pointers. At least that's what someone told me in the locker room chat that I was having during the Bucks versus Suns game, which we'll talk about later. But, assuming that he was right about that, that's some wild shit. So the Bulls in general in this game had 25 threes. And actually, I wouldn't even say that this is necessarily that great of a game for the Bulls. It's just both Zach and Kobe individually caught extreme fire. So it was the Zach and Kobe show. The Sweet Life of Zach and Kobe. I'm not the originator of that. The Pelicans in general, Brandon Ingram had a really rough game. Zion had a good game, and Patrick Williams was assigned to defend him, and I was curious how that would go. Didn't go that well. I think Wendell is the Zion solution for this team, not Patrick, because Patrick isn't. I don't think he has the physicality to really deal with Zion. Also, Denzel had yet another game. I continue to be right about Denzel Valentine. 4 for 8 from 3, 6 for 11 from the field, 16 points in total, along with 3 rebounds and 2 assists. Good ass fucking game for the Bulls. It was definitely nice to see us have an easy win. So many wins that the team has had this year have been struggles and so many close losses. It's just nice for there to be a goddamn blowout. And even then, it wasn't a clear-cut blowout. For the most part, it was about a 10-point deficit for the entire game, but it felt like they were in control, and that was a nice feeling. And Zach, 46 points. This season in general, I'm actually curious what his numbers are up to now. 28, 5, and 5. We're now like 30 games into the season, or 25-ish or so. The guy is an all-star. At least he is an all-star caliber player. Whether or not he makes the team, because there's just so much depth at every fucking position in the NBA, I don't know, but Zach is playing like an all-star. I mean, he's averaging 28, and we are this far into the season. So shout out to Zach Lavine. Zach Lavine has reached a new level. Just another thing for the Pelicans, even though Kobe had a great game, still very strongly want Lonzo to be on the Bulls, because he had 19 first quarter points, or first half points, as well as 5 assists and 5 rebounds. He hit 4 3-pointers. He only scored 1 more bucket for the rest of the game, but that first half was nuts, and he actually gave the Pelicans a lead going into halftime that the Bulls would come back from. But one note I have about the Pelicans in general, outside of just what I said, just summarizing the game, their defense should be better than it is. I don't know what it ranks in the NBA, but I can tell you right now it's not good. Zion Williamson, incredibly disappointing defender. Brandon Ingram is at least an okay defender who at times can be a good defender. Lonzo is a really good defender. Eric Bledsoe is a really good defender. Steven Adams is a solid defender, even though the actual impact of a drop big is debatable. But the defense should be better than it is, especially being that they have Jeff Van Gundy, who is a defensive-minded coach. I don't think he's a good coach, but being that he's the guy preaching defense so much, you would think the Pelicans' defense would be better than it is, and it's just not. So that's the New Orleans Pelicans Bulls game. Let's talk about the other game that I watched, which was one of the next two, which is Hawks versus Mavs. I want to end on this Bucks versus Suns game. John Collins went off in this one. Now, they did end up losing this game as the Mavericks made a early fourth quarter comeback after the Hawks had a decent deficit for most of the game. But John Collins in this game, he finishes with 33 points on 13 for 18 shooting. Look, John Collins is not worth a max contract. I tweeted this, but he'll give you games where you're like, this guy's worth a max contract, because offensively, I mean, this guy's almost flawless as a scorer, like perfect in the pick and roll. He has a post game. He is a good three-point shooter, like a legitimately good three-point shooter. It's not a question anymore. The past 2 seasons now, he's shot well from three on a decent enough volume. He's not a great shooter, but you can't leave him open. He's a decent mid-range shooter. He can put the ball on the floor against slower power forwards. He's just so good offensively as a big, also a good offensive rebounder. It's just defensively, he's okay, which, I mean, you can give him a pass there. And then his volume offensively is not as high as you would like it to be for someone who is a max contract guy. But like, if I could get John Collins for $27 million a year, I would do it. I would definitely do it. So shout out to John Collins. I'm definitely higher on him than a lot of people are. Some other notes from this one. Tony Snell is still a solid NBA player and has always been, other than when he was on the Bulls. As soon as he left the Bulls, he conveniently becomes a solid NBA player. I feel like he's going to be one of those guys who's a really cheap role player that teams can get pretty much every year for like $2 million, and he ends up being good for them. He's probably going to be like a Jeff Green journeyman type of thing. Kevin Herrera in this game, 23 points, and he was taking guys off with a dribble. I've complained the past couple of Hawks games, like I feel like Kevin Herrera is doing too much offensively, but like he's consistently been pretty good at it. So at the end of the day, if he's going to keep being good at it, I can't be too mad at him. 23 in this game, doing stuff off of the dribble. He hit a nice pull-up mid-range shot that bounced around. This was definitely a good game for Kevin Herrera. I'm just curious what his ceiling is, because he's not like a great dribbler, and he's not that athletic. He's not unathletic, but he's not athletic either. Not like really athletic either. His three-point shot's good. His mid-range shot's pretty good. I'm curious what his actual ceiling is. Tim Hardaway, he is the guy who got the Mavericks back in this game. I'm actually going to pull up his exact stats because I am curious. I know he hit like 3 3-pointers in the fourth quarter, one that was late that really pushed them over the edge here. Let me see. Where the fuck are you, Tim Hardaway? Okay, he had 16 points. I think all 3 of his 3-pointers came in the fourth quarter. That could be a mistake, but I know he hit at least 2 of them in that quarter. Also, Jalen Brunson, 21 points off of the bench for this team. I've said in the past couple of times I've commented on the Mavericks, they should let Jalen Brunson do more. He got to do more in this game. Although, generally speaking, I'm more coming from a playmaker perspective rather than a scorer perspective. But he also had 5 assists in this game, so give him credit for that. But, yeah. Also, this is the first game that I've watched with the Mavericks where Josh Richardson had a bad game, because it seems like for the most part, like Josh has had a bad season, but every time I turn on a Mavericks game, he's having a good game. So I keep being confused because I'm like, well, am I just a secret to Josh Richardson playing well when I watch the game? But no, he was 3 for 8 in this game. Did have 5 assists. It's not the worst performance in the world, but it definitely wasn't. Like, I think he had all of his best games in the Mavericks games that I've watched. Luka with a triple-double, 28 points. Shot poorly from 3. So the end of this game had a little bit of drama. That was interesting. Down 2. The Hawks had I think I put down 4.7 seconds on the clock. Trey, off of the inbound play, gets run over and falls on the floor. So the inbounder passes it to Danilo Gallinari, who takes a tough shot, which does not go in, and that's the end of the game. Trae Young gets up and he starts cursing out the ref. So the question was, is the play that happened a foul on Trae? Should they have restarted the possession, or maybe should have Trae gone to the free throw line? I don't know if they were in the bonus or not, but I don't know. I don't have a strong opinion on it. I definitely feel like there was contact, but I don't know if it was enough for Trae to really have fallen over. I don't know. I don't have a strong opinion on that, but that was definitely a point of controversy. So final game of the day, other than the last minute of Hawks OKC that I watched. I watched this game, the second half, in a locker room party. I talked about this on the Tuesday episode. I'm having a lot of fun with locker room and chatting with people, subscribers to this channel, subscribers to the main channel, during games, having live watch parties. That's what they're called. So the second half of this game, which was a pretty good NBA game, I don't know why I clarified that it was the NBA. It was fun. So if you want to talk to me during a game on every Monday and Wednesday, I'm doing that. So go on Locker Room, follow me over there and all that. So this game, first half, my comments were DeAndre Ayton is way more finesse than physical when he should be more physical than finesse. That's a kind of disappointing thing about his career thus far, is like you want DeAndre to be this powerful player in the post, like bodying people, and he just doesn't do it. Giannis in this game, he had an amazing performance overall, but in the first half, or at the very least first quarter, he took a couple of threes, and one of them was an air ball. The jumpers did not look good in this one, and the game ended with him missing a jumper, ironically, so I guess that's apt. My question, and though he had a good performance in this one, so I will give him credit there, why is Frank Kaminsky starting a power forward for this team over both Cam Johnson and Jay Crowder? Jay was returning from injury in this one, so maybe you wanted to... I mean, even then he was playing late in game, and I think he played like 30 minutes, so that's not even really an excuse. But even then, Cam Johnson is better at power forward, I guess. Well, even... I was going to say, I guess it makes sense for the Bucks because they're a bigger team, but like, is Frank Kaminsky going to fucking stop Giannis? So that's not the solution to that. He's not a guy who's going to take it. I mean, I guess Cam Johnson's no better, but at least Cam Johnson. But, you know, I'm being mean here, but Frank Kaminsky did have a good game, and I'd say overall he was a positive for the Suns because he finished this game with, I think, I'm pulling up the stats here. He had a good passing game. Like, he had 8 assists. Yeah, 8 assists, 8 rebounds, 14 points, 4 for 10 from the field. Hit 2 3-pointers in the fourth quarter as the Suns were mounting the comeback. Actually, they kind of holding on to the comeback that they had made, really, for him at that point. But Frank Kaminsky played good, but just in general, Cam Johnson or Jay Crowder should be starting at that power forward spot. Personally, I'd elect Cam because I love his shooting. But either way, both of them are better than Frank Kaminsky. Just a note that I have for pretty much any time I watch a Suns game, I love watching Chris Paul and Devin Booker because I love mid-range shots. As much as I hate the old man shit where they act like the mid-range shots are being dead in the NBA is like the biggest cardinal sin ever. As much as that annoys me, I fucking love mid-range shots because I grew up on Kobe. So I love watching both of them just kill it in the mid-range. So if you like mid-range shots, watch Suns games. So the second half in the locker room chatting with people, I wrote down, I'm sorry for doubting you, Frank, because I made that note earlier at the start of the game. Someone pointed this out in the locker room, which is definitely interesting. Why does Mike Budenholzer love Pat Connaughton so much? He plays more minutes than he should, and he especially gets late game minutes, and I don't know why. Like, Pat is an okay NBA player. And I guess in this game it makes sense when Drew Holiday is out, but there's a lot of games I watch where Drew Holiday's in. It's like, why is Pat Connaughton in the game right now? Like, he's in there over Dante DiVincenzo at times. I don't understand the love with Pat Connaughton. Maybe he has like nudes of Mike Budenholzer or something. Giannis went off in this game. He ended with like 47 points, 12 for 23 from the field. What was big for him in this game, hitting free throws and getting a lot of free throws. 17 for 21 from the free throw line, which is 81%. That was definitely good, but missed the mid-range jump shot to end the game, and that's the issue with the Bucks that people talk about all the time. The shot creation late game, Giannis in a pull-up jump shot situation does not go well. That's the point. So that was that game, and yeah, Again, subscribe to this channel if you have not already. I'd really appreciate it. This channel is growing very well, and the support over here has been awesome. But I want more. Also, build around Buddy. Shout out to the Locker Room guys. They would understand that. So if you want some inside jokes like that, go follow me over on Locker Room. And yeah, I think that's it. Bye.